Hi, everyone. Have any of you ever found yourself in a power struggle, whether it's having a discussion with family members, friends, or even your own partner? Well, it's a common thing that happens to a lot of people, and it's very frustrating. And oftentimes, we find ourselves engaged with someone that we're having a power struggle with. So, we're going to talk about doing this one thing to avoid a power struggle. And there's two types of power struggles that we're going to talk about. The first type is a difference of opinions, and the second type is of not agreeing how to perform a task as a team. And I just want to say what we're going to talk about is specifically for personal relationships. It's not about a coworker or a job environment. Okay, this is keep in mind what we're going to talk about applies to only personal relationships. Okay, so we've all heard of the wise question, would you rather be right or happy? This question simply means, what is more important to you, conflict and unhappiness or peace and happiness? This question usually holds significance meaning, especially when two partners are engaged in a heated battle, trying to defend our own positions of knowledge or points of view. This is a common situation that happens when they are trying to vehemently prove they are right and their partner is wrong. People who understand this wisdom are people who see the bigger picture and value their own peace and happiness over proving their knowledge to someone who probably won't grasp it anyway. Think about it. Okay, so I just want to say this again. When it comes to the difference of opinions, people who understand this wisdom are people who see the bigger picture and value their own peace and happiness over proving their knowledge to someone who probably won't grasp it anyway. If both parties already disagree to the level of a power struggle, it's futile to continue with the power struggle. And here's the truth, no one wins in a power struggle. The reason why is because both individuals already feel and have concluded that each are in their own right and the other is wrong. There's no amount of arguing and persuasion that will change their own thoughts. So, what's the point of continuing to escalate to the power struggle? Okay. Um, so how do we deal with our power struggles? Simply do this one thing. Choose to be happy instead of right. As mentioned above, no one really wins in a power struggle. If two people don't diffuse the argument, then both walk away feeling angry, unheard, and unhappy. And in some cases, power struggles can turn into outright hostility, hatred for each and in extreme cases, even violence. But instead, if one of the partners decides to choose to be happy, what would that look like? Choosing to be happy means the moment you sense there's a serious difference of opinion and a power struggle is about to happen, you quickly and graciously bow out of a senseless conflict by saying, hey, we can agree to disagree. Let me repeat this. Choosing to be happy means the moment you sense there is a serious difference of opinion and a power struggle is about to happen, you quickly and graciously bow out of a senseless conflict by saying, "Hey, we can agree to disagree. We can agree to disagree." I want you guys to remember this phrase. We can agree to disagree. Um, I can speak for myself that this recently has happened to me with regard to a family member. One evening we were having discussion, and this family member proceeded to tell me that um, that this family member does not agree with one of my point of view on a topic. Okay, and I can sense that it was going to be that this may turn into a power struggle because the family member was really adamant about it and basically telling me that he feels he was right and I was wrong. So how I diffused the situation, I immediately said to him, very in a nice, calm voice, "Hey, we can agree to disagree." And that's the end of it. Now, he did try to keep pushing his point of view. He kept reinstating his point of view. He kept restating his point of view. And so I just smiled and quietly said, "We can agree to disagree." Okay? So this is very important, folks. It's easy to get pulled into a power struggle because our ego gets in the way, and who doesn't want to be right, right? We all want to be right. I mean, who wants to be wrong? No one does, right? Our ego is something that we all have within us, where we're in some cases, ego is good for us, it protects us, but in other cases, like in these kind of situations, it's not worth getting into a battle with somebody over an opinion, okay? Right now, we're talking about the type of struggle that has to do with opinions. So if you find yourself, whether it's a friend, um, a partner, or a family member, and you sense that there's a strong difference of opinion, you don't need to go there, okay? Um, so here's the beauty of practicing that wisdom to choose to be happy versus being right. You are practicing self love, prioritizing your happiness over trying to gain respect from someone who won't respect your views anyway, because that's the reason why you're in a power struggle to begin with, right? If the other person thought you were right in the first place, there wouldn't be a power struggle. So choosing to be happy, you gain peace and happiness. So getting back to what we're saying, when you say we can agree to disagree, nothing needs to be said after that. After you make that statement, hopefully the other person will just let it go. And as I share with you in my situation, the person didn't let it go after the first time I said that, but then I gently repeated it again, and finally it was let go. It takes two to tango, as they say, and once you have made up your mind to politely excuse yourself from the potential power struggle, then the power struggle is over. While the other person may ignore your comment and continues to provoke an argument, you just again say politely, we can agree to disagree. And then walk away. Just walk away and the power struggle is over. Now, in my situation, I didn't have to walk away. Okay. But there may be some in some situations, depending who you're talking to. Some people are very stubborn. In my situation, since it was a family member, I guess it was clear that neither one of us wanted to escalate to the point that one of us had to walk away. It was whatever was we disagreed on wasn't that serious enough for it to escalate. Okay. I can't say that for all situations. You may find yourself in a situation where the different opinion has gotten really heated and it's a serious power struggle, right? So in certain situations, depending where you are, you may just have to walk away. If you're in public, I would think you would have to walk away because we don't want to draw attention to ourselves and humiliate ourselves in public. So the wisest thing to do is that if you're having this major power struggle in public, is to walk away. In my situation, I was in the privacy of my own home, and the situation did not escalate to the point where either one of us had to walk away. But it is an option that you need to keep in mind if you do get into a situation where your comment about agreeing to disagree is not received properly. On the other hand, choosing to be right results in no gain whatsoever. Because here's the truth in the matter. People who think they are right and choose to engage in a power struggle will tend to let the argument escalate, hoping they can scream the loudest and hopefully browbeat the other person to submission. How is that a true victory when you must use coercion to win an argument that you think you won? Did you really win the argument, or did the other person just get tired and beaten down so that they finally just threw in the white towel? Truth be told, throwing in the white towel just means that they have chosen to give up arguing. But it doesn't mean they have conceded and think you were right. So, after all that stress and arguing, people who want to be right all the time are blinded to the truth that there is no gain. Right, folks? Think about it. The people that want to push their point of view, that they want it to be known that they think their opinion is right, no matter how loud they scream, you cannot make someone change their mind. That's a fact. But I find it humorous that a lot of people, you see that sometimes and people end up yelling, screaming, it's like they're having a contest who yells the loudest, where at that point no one's really listening to each other. And at that point they're just yelling. And and we know that neither one of them are going to agree to each other's point of view no matter what. So at some point someone's going to just say whatever, what think whatever you want to think. I don't care. It's going to get to that level when it gets really bad. And so when one person decides just to hang it, throw in the towel and not bother even talking about it anymore, it's not a win for the other person who is trying to fight their way of thinking they're right. it's still there's no gain in the situation. That's what I'm trying to say, right? If the person does not, if the person that threw in the towel does not concede and say, "Okay, you're right," then there is no victory in that whole power struggle. It was just a waste of time and energy to waste with, and not to mention hard feelings. Okay, people relationships have actually ended over minor minor points of view differences over minor things that should have never even been an issue. But it happens, unfortunately, we are all humans, and human beings have egos. And unfortunately, depending how serious a power struggle can escalate to, relationships can be lost. And here's the irony of this truth: people who insist they are right think they will gain respect from others, when in reality, they will lose respect. Let me repeat this again. People who insist they are right think they will gain respect from others, when in reality, they will lose respect. How often have we felt that way, folks, right? We all, if you think about someone that you know that always has to be right, do we respect that person? When we think about that person, when we talk about that person, and when we bring that person up in a conversation with others, do we speak highly of them? Do we say, oh, yes, they're the smartest person we know and they're always right? No, we don't, right? As a matter of fact, we often say, "Oh, so and so is Mrs. Know It All," or "So and so is Mr. Know It All. They think they know it all," right? Don't we say that? So the people that are trying to always fight that they're right, they don't gain anything. They don't even gain the respect from others. Okay, so that's the irony of the whole thing. And why would they lose respect? Because people who think they're always right and then incessantly and relentlessly push their views on others are generally considered toxic people. And toxic people will eventually lose respect and alienate themselves from healthy people. Now, they may continue to have unhealthy people around them who are willing to tolerate and accept their toxic behaviors because misery loves company. However, the healthy people who have chosen to be happy will have already set up their boundaries to limit their interactions with those toxic people. And folks, if you think about it, we all have people that we know that we've actually have set the boundaries with because of people that are like this, that are highly toxic. Every time we get together, they have to prove that they're right, and then it always ends up into a escalation of power struggle, and we have to walk away or uh, just totally ignore the person, right? How many times have we actually felt this way? Uh, and what ends up happening is that they end up alienating themselves. Nobody wants to be around people that are toxic. Now, toxic people will hang out with toxic people because the misery loves company, and because they're so much alike, they just feed off of each other. But the happy people, they don't want to deal with this. They want to contain maintain their peace and their happiness. So they're not going to be around people that are constantly trying to argue and debate and have a power struggle. It's not worth it for us happy people. Unfortunately, okay, however, okay, unfortunately, the people who haven't learned this wisdom of choosing to be happy versus right tend to be people who are immature, inflexible, narrow-minded, arrogant, stubborn individuals who probably grew up with hypercritical parents who displayed the same behaviors. These people who haven't learned the value of peace and humility are the ones that rarely smile and frequently look unhappy. So the next time you find yourself in a power struggle when you're having a difference of opinions, simply do this one thing. Simply do this one thing. Just choose to be happy instead of right. Okay? Uh and again, we all know people that are like this, and we all know that more often than not, they're not people that are happy people. And just keep in mind, all this stems from possibly their upbringing and what role models they had, and that's where they learned it from. So now we're going to talk about the second type of power struggle, and that is when two people are not in agreement of how a task should be done. This is where reaching both partners this is where both partners need to learn to pick their battles. It's not wise to fight every battle because not every issue is worth a major fight. Okay, so now this is going to pertain mainly to partners. If you're in a relationship with somebody, whether it's a romantic partner or if you're married, your spouse, we we who have partners that we're in close relationships with, this second type of power struggle happens more often than just the difference of opinions. Okay. Um, when it comes to uh, how how we think things should be done, and this happens a lot. If you are in a relationship with someone who's got a strong sense of opinion, just like you, this is where this is going to happen. Where you're going to guys going to have a power struggle. So, just want to say, and so when you're in this kind of situation, you need to pick your battles. Okay, it's not wise to fight every battle because not every issue is worth a major fight. This is usually seen with two people who are very stubborn, very opinionated, and highly independent. This pairing of two people will need to compromise more than any other couple who are more complementary in personality type. These couples with strong personality types are usually referred to as the power couples, where the couples must learn to respect each other's strengths and pick their battles wisely. So let me just stop right here. Um, I know, and my husband and I, in our situation, this kind of applies. We both have very strong personalities. We both are opinionated. We both are the firstborn. Okay, so we do butt heads a lot, and so and the other thing that's kind of amazing, that we both have similar strengths. So and these so sometimes in power couples, if the strengths are almost the same, then you can see why the power struggles can happen, right? If you're in now in another couple where there's where there's more of a balance, right? There's more compatibility where one person's easygoing and another person's not as easygoing, but they kind of balance each other out. So the easygoing person will probably uh, let the not easygoing person have their opinion and the say in things more often than not, okay? But for the rest of us who are in relationships where there is the balance is not totally there, and you both are very strong in your strengths. And chances are, if you're strong in your strengths, you're probably strong in your weaknesses too. You're probably equal in your weaknesses as well. But in these situations, if you are living with a partner who it has and both of you have very strong opinions of how things should be done, okay, you guys need to learn to compromise. It's very difficult, but you have to, because you cannot fight every single battle. Okay, if you do, you're not going to end up having a very happy marriage or relationship, because you cannot go day to day fighting over stuff that's not even that important. Most of the things that people argue about or have power struggles over are not very serious things. Okay, so we just have to keep that in mind and be careful not to fight for every single thing. We have to choose our battles wisely. Um, so how do we choose to be happy? By choosing to compromise and find a solution that works for both partners, unless one partner is willing to pick the battle that he or she is willing to risk losing the relationship over. And that is often referred to as the hill we're going to die on. And there are very few issues that would be worth the possible ending of a relationship. Therefore, for most issues, choosing to be happy involves compromising, especially between two strong personality types. Okay, so this is something we need to keep in mind, that we don't that if we do choose, we have to choose to pick our battles. And we if there is ever an issue that comes up that you just absolutely cannot compromise on, and that you've chosen this is the battle that you're willing to die on. This is the hill that you're willing to die on, which means if your partner is not willing to agree with you, then you're willing to end the relationship over this. Okay. This is very serious. And it's not something that we want to do often, obviously, right? We don't want to constantly be in the position of threatening our partners just to get our way, because that's not healthy. That's toxic. But what I am saying is that if there ever does come into a time once in a blue moon, you're talking about an issue that really hits home and you just cannot see yourself compromising, then you already made the decision. This is the hill that you're going to die on. Then you need to be you need to follow through if this is what you're going to do. Because here's the thing. If you make this kind of ultimatum, which is what it is, right? Then if you don't follow through with it, then your partner will not take you seriously. And then at that point, you guys are going to be constantly arguing, and it's not going to be a healthy relationship. It will end up being toxic. So I would not recommend that we uh, get to that point where we're constantly, threatening and not willing to choose to be happy and compromise. That's not really a good, if you already decided that you love your partner, you've already decided you're going to live with that person or marry, or you're married to that person, you're committed to that person for the long run. This is someone that you love, right? And so a lot of us, we lose focus of the reason why we're even together, right? If we choose to always battle with our spouses every single day, threatening, we're not willing to be happy, and we just want to keep fighting for what's right, what we think is right, our own way of doing things, then why are we together? Right? It's easier just to not be together so you can just walk away from each other and not have to engage in this kind of unpleasant exchange. So we need to keep in mind, why are we together to begin with? And there's not and what I've learned in life is that there's not just one way of doing things. Okay. And some of us, like I'm very organized. Okay. So now I've even realized the way that I think something should be done is the most organized may not be the most organized way. I've been humbled a few times in my life where I thought I figured out the most efficient way of doing something. And then lo and behold, someone comes along that I don't regard as very organized, as not as organized as I am. But what's amazing is that they taught me something. They actually came up with a way that was more organized than what I came up with. So, it and that was something that I realized a long time ago, that even though if you think you're the most qualified, most organized, or the most logical, or whatever, right? Most gifted in finances, that you're good in math, you'd be surprised. Someone comes along sometimes that you and I didn't even expect. They may not even be at your intelligent level, but other people can show you the way. Other people can humble you in an instant. Okay? It has happened to me. So keep in mind that your way is not the only way. Okay? It's just not. Okay? Maybe no one else has thought about a better way than you, but remember, someday there might be somebody that will come up with a better way than your way. And so we need to be humble and realize that. Um, so in summary, choosing to be happy will gain you peace and happiness. And in choosing to be happy, you're not enabling or perpetuating toxic behavior. And who knows, by not enabling toxic behaviors, it may ultimately be the start of changing the dynamics of your relationship from a negative to a positive one. And as we know, we can't change others, but we can only have control over our own behaviors. When we choose to be happy, it may influence a positive change in our relationships. So always remember, choose to be happy. Okay? All right, folks. So I hope you found this helpful. And the next time you find yourself in a power struggle, just remember the things we've talked about. And it's always better to choose to be happy than to be right. Okay? So if you like this video, please click like and click share. If you have any comments or questions, please put them in the comments section below. And remember to subscribe to my channel so you can be notified of all my future videos. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Okay, bye.